If you're stretching your IT band for IT band syndrome, stop right now and do these 4 exercises to help improve your IT band syndrome. Let me tell you a story about whenever I first got IT band syndrome as a runner. I was training for the Corpus Christi half marathon, and it's pretty warm in Corpus Christi, so I hadn't really ran a whole lot. So usually running in the heat, it's kind of like running now, all the way up through October, November, and so I wasn't really training a whole lot. I think I might have reached 13 miles, but I had to do a lot of walk, jog, didn't do a lot of strengthening, any speed work at all. So I was just trying to work on improving endurance. So I got to the race, and around mile 5, started developing a little bit of left IT band syndrome. And there's a certain range of motion that you'll feel a friction. It's on the outside portion of your knee. It can be quite painful. Painful enough where I had to stop and walk and then jog again. And then I started having it on my right knee. So I had to do about 8 miles of walk jog, and it was quite miserable, quite painful. And the next day, it's almost like I couldn't even walk. It was so painful, so irritated. It took me a while to get back to it, to start running again, and almost stopped running long distances at all. It's like, am I even capable of doing this? And so I stopped doing it for a while. Eventually started getting back into running long distances. Still had issues with IT band syndrome. Again, it was just kind of a hard lesson learned of whenever you have pain, there's something going on, there's some sort of weakness going on. Not necessarily a flexibility issue. Like I said, stretching is not going to do it. And it's going to be more strengthening your hip abductor muscles, your side hip muscles. Those are important for stability, especially single leg stance. And we are a single leg sport. And what happens is when that muscle is weak, your hip goes into adduction moment, meaning your hip drops. So if it's my left knee, my right hip drops, then your IT band has to support your leg from going into your knee going in. And whenever it does go in, you have this friction on that tissue, and it kind of irritates it, inflames it, and it causes pain and inflammation. So let's talk about some key factors that can contribute to IT band. One of them is called bounding. Bounding while running, meaning you're getting vertical lift while running, so you're spending a lot of time. So 2 things, you can cause some injuries doing. Also, you're losing efficiency with running. And then also overstriding. And so what happens is with overstriding, you're going to do is you're going to run towards, and then what happens is because of that overstriding, it's going to load your knee more, and then you're having to utilize your IT band to control your motion rather than your muscles. And so that's what causes that pain right there on the IT band and just right in that area there. And then what happens is that you can do, whenever you have less frequent, when you have less frequent stride, that's going to cause more problems. So we find with research, if you increase your frequency with your stride, that's going to help improve your glute activation. So whenever I increase my frequency, I feel like my posture is upright a little bit more.
and that I feel like I'm engaging more, rather than what happens is sometimes we'll run almost like sitting into a saddle, so you're nice and comfortable in that position there, rather than being nice and tall, utilizing your hip extensors to propel you forward there, and then that puts more stress on the IT band syndrome. And also having weak hip abductors and external rotators, and we'll show you how to do those. So that's why we talked about in the beginning of the video, I said stop stretching the IT band, start strengthening the hip muscles and the foot muscles around to help improve your stability. So that's what's going to help give you long-term situation with your IT band syndrome, help it prevent it, as well as help out your condition with IT band syndrome if you're doing strengthening compared to stretching. So I'd like to show you 4 good exercises that you can do to help improve your IT band syndrome. The one thing that you can do is, and I've shared this with you before in previous IT band syndrome, is doing a little bit of massage. Now this is not the total fix, it's going to feel good while you're doing it, and so what you're going to do is for the IT band, what I'm talking about is it attaches down here to then, that's typically where you're going to have your pain, is in this area here. And then also it does, what it does, it goes all the way up here and attaches to your hip and to a muscle called the tensor fasciae lata and your gluteus maximus. So it has some fascial connections up through there. So this is the area that's probably going to cause pain. So what you're going to do is you're going to do just a little bit of massage across the IT band syndrome. Now you want to do this for at least 3 to 5 minutes, and so if it starts to, it should feel better the longer you go, and if it starts to cause more pain, stop right away, and then maybe doing a little bit of ice can help out. And this is kind of helping out with pain. It's not the long-term fix for the situation. Long-term fix will be doing the strengthening. So the first exercise I'd like for you to do is you're going to do some side step exercise. So you can get like a band just like this right here, or this type of band here. And so what you're going to do, you're going to strap around your ankles. And 2 ways you can do right around your ankles. It's a little bit harder, or around your knees with that. So we're going to do around the ankles first here, okay? And so what you're going to do is doing some side stepping. Now you can pick kind of a long hallway to do that, and making sure that your knees are pointing, that they're not going in or that they're not going too far forward. So you want a slight bend in your knees when you're doing this exercise and side step. And you should feel it on the side of your hip, called the gluteus medius muscle. That's going to help out improve that stability there. Okay, so you can do again a couple minutes there. This is kind of good exercise. Blue is going to help me out here. So next exercise you're going to do, bring the band up a little bit higher, and so you're going to do is keep this knee stationary, bring this knee in and come out. Come in and come out. So you're helping out with the external rotation part of the knee, of the hip, going in and going out, and doing maybe 15 to 20 repetitions to help out with that. And also you can do with the other leg too, so going in and going out, really helping out with that external rotation. So you can do this, and we call this closed chain, meaning that your foot is on the ground. So that's basically what we're trying to control, is the ground reaction forces with running. So it's going to help out with that ground reaction forces with running there. And so that's number 3. So the fourth one is that you're going to grab, if you've got an exercise ball, and this is going to help improve your hip. You know, you can do several different variations of this. This is the one that you can do. You're going to put your hands on the mat, and you're going to raise up. Really helps squeeze your glute muscles there. That's going to hold for 3 seconds and slowly come back down. And then come back up. Slowly come back down. Okay? And then you can do about 10, 15 repetitions with your legs straight. Then with your legs bent, you're going to come up, hold it, and come back down. So the ball kind of really helps you because it moves around, so it kind of keeps you stable and helps with that dynamic type of movement there. Raise up and slowly come back down. You're really engaging those glutes, those hamstrings, and also stretching the front part of your hip there. Come back down, doing about 15 repetitions of that exercise. So those are 4 good exercises to help you with your IT band syndrome. Now, even 4 years ago, whenever I started running again, because I stopped running long distances for about a good 4 years, and then I started back up again, and I still had issues. So my time was about 2:30 in the half marathon. So I started doing some strengthening and doing a little bit of weight training, resisted training with bands. So if you don't have a weight room, doing body weight exercises with all these equipment that are very inexpensive can really help you out. So when I started doing that, my time started getting better. I started having less pain. I was able to run the full distance, 13 miles, without pain. And now my personal record is 1:43. So it went from 2:23 to 1:43. So it's almost a good hour difference just because of strengthening and stability. I think is very important. Sometimes as runners we forget that strengthening is very important. I think it is very important, especially if you want to do this sport for a long period of time, so which I think you can. There's individuals that are running in their 70s and 80s in this sport and being very competitive. So I think this is something that you at home can continue doing as well. And so if you have any comments about IT band, let me know how that's going. If you do have any IT band issues, let me know in the comments there. And so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit subscribe and ding that bell so you don't miss any other videos that I may post. And I hope everyone keeps safe, keep running, and we'll see you next time.